her pronouns. I'm the executive director for Idaho Drug Free Youth.
Awesome. Mallory.
Hi, my name is Mallory from Eastern Idaho Public Health, and I coordinate the Partnership for Success program and our drug overdose prevention program.
Thank you. Jerry.
Good morning. I'm Jerry Gowan. I'm out of Canyon County, the 2C Drug Free Coalition. My business, Prevention Associates, we do best practice programming in some of the local schools, but we're the fiscal agent for the 2C Coalition. So.
Awesome. Thank you. Kaylee.
Hi, I'm Kaylee. I am the Partnership for Success coordinator for Region 2.
Perfect. Now my screen all shifted. Susie.
Hi, I'm Susie Sturts with the Idaho State Elks Association Drug Awareness Program. And I just
Awesome.
do.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What was that?
And I just do.
Hmm.
I just do whatever's asked.
Sometimes that's all we can do. Marianne.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my camera. I'm the PFS coordinator for South Central Public Health down in Twin Falls.
Awesome. I'm David Roth. I'm the executive director of the Bonneville Youth Development Council in Idaho Falls, Idaho. We're a DFC coalition. And last but not least, we have David Phillips.
Hi, I'm David. I am the executive director for Community Coalitions of Idaho.
Perfect. So we'll move right along into, did I miss anyone? Because sometimes when people join, it shifts around. I don't think I did. We'll move right into the consent agenda. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes from the previous meeting?
I'm seeing some head nods.
Yeah, so we're good to go. I always get confused with this approval process. Do we do both of those at the same time? Both the March, the minutes and the financial report?
Yeah, so the consent agenda is the minutes, everything in this box right here. We'll be considering unless somebody wants to pull it out for a discussion.
Perfect. And so did anyone have any questions about the March financial reports? Hearing none. Oh, there's Marco coming online. Morning, Marco. We're just approving the consent agenda.
Thank you.
Do you want a minute to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sorry I was late. I'm working on a big project, so I was like, oh man. I'm Marco Erickson with Community Youth in Action, so thank you guys for having me.
Awesome. All right. I'd entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda. Don't everyone go at once.
Motion, second.
So Grace moved, and do we have a second?
A second.
Perfect. Thank you. Grace moved and Marco seconded that we approve the agenda. All in favor? Or we approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Perfect. Hearing no opposition, the motion carries. Moving on next to elections. So we have several positions on the board that will be up for election this June. In fact, I think honestly at this point, the only person who is not up for election is myself, as far as the officers go. And then we have, well, actually, I think as far as everyone goes. So David, did you have anything you wanted to add? You have more details on that than I do.
Yeah, so what we're doing is between now and the ICAD dinner meeting on May 10th, we've been taking nominations. We've had a few people speak and say they were interested for different positions. So we've been taking nominations. If you are interested in either chair vice chair. I don't believe we have a secretary anymore. We might look at amending that later on down the road. I wanted to get through this set of elections before we mess with our guiding documents anymore. And then we are looking to fill all 4 of our committees. The people who have been on those for a while now, for at least 2 years. And so we're looking to shake that up. And I've only had one person make themselves say that they make themselves available to run the networking and membership communication committee. So we have opportunities there and other places. So if you're interested in jumping into a board seat for a statewide nonprofit, here's your opportunity. Things have been really good lately, and then we have an amazing up and coming program coordinator that I'm super excited to work with and get on board. So yeah, if you're interested, just send me an email. If you don't have my email, I will throw it in the chat in a second, and we'll get you set up. And then if you want to wait until, if you're not sure and you decide if you're coming to ICAD and you decide, or if it's before, let me know sometime around May 10th if you're not going to be at ICAD, and we can get you on. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have those elections at our in-person / virtual June meeting in Boise for the law enforcement and prevention training that we're doing. June 6th and 7th is when we'll actually hold the elections, and then those people will take those positions immediately after that meeting. So those will be our new board members and committee heads. And the reason why the committee heads are important, because according to the changes in the bylaws that were made by the past chair, those committee chairs also hold a position on the board and have a vote. So
Perfect.
that's that. Does anybody have any questions about anything? If you don't want to say it now, you can email me questions, or if you want to nominate yourself or somebody else that you think might be good, you can do that too. All right, I think we're good, David.
All righty. Thank you so much. I am going to have you get started on the next section, that coalition, new business and coalition work session, because I do have to hop off for just 1 second to make this call.
Yep.
So hopefully we will, so you guys can go ahead and do that.
Sounds good. All right, so moving forward, so we had a coalition, not a coalition spotlight, a program spotlight scheduled, but they had to cancel last minute. So instead of trying to rush and ask somebody last minute to set something up, we decided to take that off the agenda so that maybe we can end earlier and we can get through some of these other things. So the first thing on the agenda for new business is, so if you were here last month, you remember that we are working to get Jim's MOU for this year figured out, as well as get him paid. He has not been paid since January. We were having some issues with getting the MOU approved. There was a lot going on, and there was some schedule conflicts. So what I will be looking for, so I did send out with the meeting information on Friday was a copy of the MOU, because that was what I didn't send last time, and I apologize. It's been kind of crazy not having Chloe around them. That's why I'm glad to have Lindsay, because this is not a fun job to do by yourself. So what we'll be looking for is, if anyone has any discussion, did you guys get a chance to look over Jim's MOU? It hasn't really changed much. We kind of simplified it a little bit because it had a lot of things in there that we really didn't need him to do. There was things in there that we could pull from the actual contract that the CDC has with the nationwide evaluators. The reason why we feel like it's so important to have Jim on as our evaluator is, one, he's from Idaho, he teaches in Idaho, so he understands Idaho local, so local solutions, local problems, local solutions kind of thing. And then two, he really acts as an additional staff person, even though he is a contractor. But he does attend staff meetings, he gives input, and he really helps us walk through some of the programming that we're doing to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in a situation where we're not going to be able to figure out, like, get actual results. Like, we need tangible things that can be evaluated very, very often. And I made this mistake early on with the podcast, is I did not come to Jim and ask him, you know, is this in the, you know, I didn't put it in the action plan. I was just looking for a way to replace the newsletter at the time, because when Chloe and I started, we were told that nobody reads it. And I went back and looked at the numbers, and prior to us revamping the newsletter, nobody was reading it. So we were looking for a way to change that, but we needed to put that into the action plan. That was one of the things that he did help us do, is to get that back in line with what we need to be doing. So really, we kind of simplified his thing and also his contract. And we also did that because the CDC changed at how much we could actually pay for outside grant evaluation services. So he is making a little bit less than he was in the past, but he and I talked about that, and he's fine with it. He's really passionate about working in prevention, and he loves working with CCI and all of us. So does anybody have any comments or questions about the MOU for the grant evaluator? So if there is no discussion, can I get a motion to approve the MOU and the back pay for since January for Jim?
I motion.
Thank you, Grace.
I second.
Thank you, Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. We will get that taken care of forthwith. Really, I know Jim's on, he didn't say anything, but I really appreciate him still. He helped us out a lot, especially with our February reports. And also going to CADCA in Washington, DC with us, and was a big part of helping us map out what workshops we should be going to be better, to be a better coalition for all of you, to support you guys in the work that you do. So, so next is the CCI mini grant applications. So we did approve 3. Those checks did go out last week. So those of you, I believe that was Idaho Drug Free Youth, Salmon Substance Abuse, and why am I not remembering the third one? And another one. What was it? You don't know, Lindsay, because you're new. We do. What was that?
Was it Sia?
No, you guys haven't sent one in yet.
Oh, never mind.
I do know that while I'm trying to think of who it was.
Was it BYDC, David? I think it was BYDC.
Yes, thank you. No, it wasn't BYDC either. I know they have an application they're supposed to be sending me. I'm sorry. It has been a crazy week. So we have 3 approved, 1 pending MADC that me and Lindsay and Rose will look over this week. But I just want to let everybody else know the funds are available. I know that we are going to have we have a plan to have Stephen from Speak Sobriety come out. He's coming out to our October conference in Moscow, Idaho, and the goal is to have him kind of stick around in Idaho for a week and do a series of training. So those of you, especially close to Moscow, who haven't used your grant funds yet, I have an idea on how we might be able to use those funds and get Stephen to speak to your youth or parents or whatever. So I will be, if I have not had that conversation with you yet, I will be having that conversation with you. But yeah, so that is the update on the mini grant applications. Does anybody have any questions about the mini grants? Okay, I'm not seeing any, just not seeing anything in the chat. The next thing is the CCI law enforcement and prevention training that we are holding June 6th and 7th at the Oxford Suites in Boise. We're going to start the conference, the training with ABC from Idaho State Police. And we're also going to have our member meeting, and then we're going to have the DRE program from Idaho State Police give us some updates. And then we are going to have Dee Dee Phillips, no relation, from the juvenile department, give us an afternoon training on relating better to the populations that we serve. She and I sat through and talked about this training, and it sounds so amazing. It sounds like what a lot of us need, especially coming out of COVID and trying to reconnect with our populations where we've had struggles with that. I mean, I personally just last night had my daughter's best friend is in the hospital on a 24-hour hold because she started cutting her wrist. So like really anything that we can do to find ways to reconnect with our populations, especially those that are most dire in need. So that'll wrap up day one. And then day two, we will be running a workshop on dealing on what we've seen with COVID around any of the alcohol to go, any of the laxing of alcohol standards to allow restaurants to step in. And we're going to actually have Tribute Media, our graphics contractors, there with us as we are talking through some of these solutions. And the hope is to either develop some type of a program or something that like a sticker or a carding poster or whatever comes out of our conversations, and then they can turn around and help develop that for us. And that's something that we are planning to work with the Idaho Liquor Division on starting to roll that out to some of our restaurants and stuff, especially if you guys have seen areas where we might have restaurants that are not that are struggling with getting alcohol into the hands of only people that are over 21. I know that that Meridian did at one time see some troubling numbers when it came to some operations that they did during COVID. It was nice to hear just a few weeks ago that those numbers have shifted, and the problems, at least from where the police department did the operation shoulder tap at those restaurants, that the numbers have flipped back in a positive direction, thank God. But so it's an opportunity for us to come together and talk about what we're experiencing in our perspective coalitions and what we might be able to do to start curbing some of those. And then we will wrap up the second day with Jason Zealous from Zealous Recovery. He will be talking about substance abuse and our youth populations. And then Monica Forbes will be giving us a presentation on what came first, substance abuse or mental health issues. So kind of like what came first, chicken or the egg kind of spin, but really what came first? Did we see substance abuse first or mental issues something that led us into substance abuse? So worked really hard, really fast to put together this training, and I'm kind of excited that it came together so well. It's chock full of really good stuff that's really going to be great for everybody. But for the hotel, we are paying, CCI is paying for the hotel stay for anybody who comes from out of town. And we're also paying for mileage. But for the hotel block, I need to know by the end of next week, I believe. I sent out the JOT form a couple times. I will be sending it out again, but I need to know by Friday the 13th of May. So if you know you're going and you've just been busy, if you could fill out that JOT form and let me know so that I can get those names to the hotel, that would be amazing. If you're not sure, if you still need to know, just let me know if there's still a possibility for you coming out, so that I can kind of get a number of how many of those rooms I'm actually going to need and which ones I'm not. So, does anybody have any questions on the June training?
Valerie had a couple questions that she sent in the chat. She was wondering if there would be any virtual options for this conference, and then if this was mainly for student resource officers or all law enforcement in general.
So this is a little bit different than what CC has done in the past. In the past, you've trained side by side with law enforcement. A lot of our law enforcement partners do not have the capacity to send out staff. They do a lot of training in-house now. So this is more of us learning what our so the alcohol beverage control, they're going to be going over kind of what we're seeing with use rates, where it comes from retail locations. They're also going to be going over what the pandemic has done as far as the enforcement side of things with like alcohol to go and stuff. They're kind of be setting the table for our conversation the next day on kind of talking through some of the problems that we're seeing in our specific regions. And then the drug recognition program, they're going to be talking about kind of what they've been seeing with drug trends. And then the main focus is going to be what they've seen on the enforcement side of things with marijuana coming in from some of our larger entities that have legalized marijuana, where it is seeping into Idaho in large numbers. And like Ontario is a big one for us down here in regions 3 and 4. And 2, I know Terry, you and I went to see the tall cop in Ontario, hoping that he would have done a community scan, because that was really interesting to see just kind of what it's doing there. We didn't get a chance to see that, but I know, and I do know that when Chloe and I went up to assist Lapway with their parent and family conference, it was kind of mind-blowing to see how close the dispensary in Washington was to Moscow, and right there next to that ginormous college town. So really good. They're going to be letting us know what their officers are seeing when it comes to marijuana coming in from these locations, and hopefully using it as a tool where we can empower ourselves to continue to have conversations with our legislators on keeping marijuana out of Idaho. It seems like the voters don't have much of a palate for it. So we need to continue to have information that we can share with our legislators on why they shouldn't move it. And I know David Roth and I were talking politics before the meeting started, but this election is very important because some very key people in the Senate and the House that have been who've backed us up on these issues with marijuana legalization are in some very contested races with other Republicans in the primary. So we would hate to lose these champions that have been helping us out over the last few years. Right, Marco?
Yes, we don't want to lose them. I just say I'm going to, after May 17th, I'm going to be making phone calls to all the people who win their primaries, and I will be doing my best to stack the Health and Welfare Committee with the pro or the anti-marijuana people. So we'll do our best to make sure that it's stacked, so we won't have that issue in the next 2 years. But you never know after that, because that's when we can do our best for 2 years at a time around Idaho. That's it.
I really thank Marco and the rest of the legislators that have listened to the people and have really helped us out on the prevention side of things. It could have been worse had it not been for representatives like him. So thank you. Yes, there are a lot. I think Grace, you can attest to what David Roth just said in the chat. Is there's a lot of dispensaries close to Coeur d'Alene too, right?
Yeah, there's a lot out here. And it's just every billboard will be like, you're 5 miles away from the closest dispensary or something like that. And I went to college in that college town you're talking about. So I also radiate with, it's very clear they knew where the line was and intentionally were like 100 feet back or something. So it's in Washington, but like not really.
It might as well be in Idaho, right?
I was really surprised too, like when I was up there for 3 days, and when I flew into Spokane and when I drove across, I'm here like, these are not like strip mall style buildings. These are like nice purpose built buildings specifically for this. They're right on the interstate, like right next to, I mean, you literally could get there within probably 10-15 minutes of leaving Coeur d'Alene.
It's the same problem in Moscow and
Yeah.
down in Ontario. We actually went into them because I was like, I gotta go see what they're doing in there. And I can't go in there ever again because I had a massive headache when I left just from walking in the room where they had the stuff. I was like, I don't know what it is, but just this, just smelling it bothered me. But we did, we were looking at the THC content and we could not believe our eyes. This is bad news.
Some of the billboards that I have seen are 24-hour home delivery. And I cannot believe, I'm appalled that anybody can call up these dispensaries and order things to be delivered to their home 24 hours a day. We're in trouble.
Yeah.
And that was one of the biggest problems with California was the whole delivery process. And when they legalized it for recreational purposes in California, they were giving counties and cities the ability to restrict that. And what the legislature did is they went behind the voters' backs and they took that out because it was seen as restrictive for business. And California was trying to be pro-business all of a sudden. So that I was having marijuana delivered all over my community and kids are answering the doors and these guys are handing these packages off to these kids in these houses. So ridiculous. Yeah, Susie, that is a ginormous problem.
Even here in Idaho Falls, we have Alpine, Wyoming, that's like what, 40 minutes away, 45 minutes away. And they're advertising online Delta 8 THC available, which falls within the unregulated realm in Wyoming. It's regulated here in Idaho, or illegal here in Idaho, but not in Wyoming. And but it's marketed as sort of it's not weed, and coming across that way as well. So it's around us, it's everywhere.
You have a question, a comment, Natasha?
I do. I have a quick question. So something that's always puzzled me, how come Idaho people can go over to Clarkson, Washington from Lewiston, or like Orfino does? I know tons of people here that do it. They go over to the weed shops in Clarkston, and they do have to show ID to prove they're old enough. But how does our legislature work with the Washington legislature to stop? Like, if you don't have a Washington ID, you shouldn't be allowed to buy, right?
You shouldn't, but you want to answer that, Marco?
And the only time we collaborate with those other legislators is when they try to do things they shouldn't be in our state. So like one example this year, I can't remember, we sent, they were going to tax Idahoans illegally on their roads or something. And we sent them a letter saying, this is not okay. You aren't going to do that because it violates these constitutional things. So in this case, they don't care. Anybody, if they're of legal age, their law says 21 and over. If you come over there, it doesn't matter what state you're from. If you show an ID and you're over 21, you can buy it. That's just how it is with interstate compacts and the way it works in the United States.
Not only that, but when they legalized in those states, one of the pushes, and of course, as more states legalize, it's less of a push, but one of the pushes was it'll help drive tourism. You know, people were making trips to Colorado when Colorado was one of the first ones and things like that. And it brings more money into the state. So in all actuality, I seriously doubt the legislature would do anything in Washington, because to be honest, it was part of their goal to bring money from Idaho into Washington.
And we get their liquor tax money because they come over to ours and they buy our liquor cheaper than theirs, and we get and it ends up helping us with liquor tax dollars. So it's kind of
it goes both ways, doesn't it?
It is interesting though. I don't know if they do this so much anymore. I think they do every once in a while. I know when it was first legalized in like Colorado, there were a lot of like Idaho State police who were sitting on whatever the main, freeways and stuff coming into Idaho, coming out of Colorado. And they were doing, random checks, almost like a DUI checkpoint, and looking to see if you were bringing it in. And I think they actually do that in those border towns every once in a while. But even still, it's not good.
No.
It's kind of like the guy who used to sit at the bar, the police officer, and wait for the people to come out. They found a lot of that unconstitutional, and they would give DUI after DUI. I think it was good to keep our streets safe, but then some judge somewhere said, so it'd be the same concept if we captured every single Idaho plate. Because I can tell you the one I went to in Ontario, there were 15 of them we visited, and all 15, 85 to 95% of the plates were all Idaho plates. It was very sad for me when I went there. I'm like, wow, this tells you a lot about what we're doing here.
Yeah, as a cop, you just need additional probable cause. It can't be just because you saw their license plate. You know what? Most people don't realize you give cops probable cause all day long. You swerve a little bit, failing to maintain a lane. I can pull you over to make sure that you're not drunk, and it doesn't take long to, yeah. So as much as I hate,
and that's why it's that training ODP did last year with the law enforcement. I don't know how many of you attended, but they had this really good training where they were concealing all of the drugs. And I watched people in Ontario, they had all these specialized concealment compartments in their cars built in, and they were hiding it so they couldn't find it. And that training was amazing because the law enforcement officers learn where to find all those things, and people hide them inside their wheels of their hubcaps, inside the car, inside the actual frame of the wheel. It's impressive what they try to do. But yeah, they're not going to find it all when it's coming in like that.
No, sadly.
Sorry, this is kind of, I don't want to make this conversation last forever. When I was in Washington though, we got training. I was in a school and we got training on like the ways that people conceal marijuana in assorted things like water bottles and that type of stuff. Is that something CCI would ever be interested in?
We have hosted those trainings. We were trying to get, there is so drug alcohol trends up in Cottonwood. I'm trying to get them at our fall training right now. They run their law enforcement for their small town. Right now, their schedules are not matching up with our conference date. So I am trying to find somebody. I don't know, David or Marco, you want to drive your trailers to Moscow? I know we have at least one. Marco, did you guys finish your trailer yet?
Ours has been finished for a long time. It's not wrapped. We're working on that this week because we are supposed to go up to ICAD. We're trying to work on. We want it to be wrapped so it actually has our logos and all. But the inside of the trailer has been complete for a long, long time. Just driving it that far up north is not an easy task. You have to have a really powerful pickup. Ours is 30 foot long. It's a full bedroom, and it's not like a small. I know I saw David's trailer. It's a little smaller. His is easier to pull than our big one.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to hauling it up there. It's honestly going to depend. I couldn't give you an answer today. It's because the only person in our organization that has a vehicle that can pull it is myself or Jim. Maybe Jim would pull it if he was interested in going. And my schedule is just too in flux until after I know what's happening on the 17th. So to commit to anything.
So we have those are two options, and then we also have, there are other people that do those. So that is something that we're working hard to make sure happens at the October training. So
thank you.
You're welcome. So the only other question there that I didn't address was the virtual component. And I was at the hotel last week, and their internet is not going to lend very well to doing this both in person and in virtual. And that is kind of, I can tell you right now, when Chloe and I were both well into clicking, it was difficult I would hate to ask Lindsay a month in, hey, you really want to cut your teeth and try to run a virtual training on sketchy internet? So no, this will only be offered in person. So I'm sorry for those of you. I know a couple of you have already told me you have schedule conflicts. So I do apologize. But when it is possible, we do try to offer those virtual opportunities. But these in-person things are meant for us to get together and like work and connect a couple times a year. So that's what these are for. So does anybody else have any questions about June?
David, what's the tentative date for the fall training so we can kind of schedule around it?
October 3rd and 4th.
Okay.
Tentative, no, I'm planning ahead from now on. I'm not getting caught off guard. So yeah, we're already halfway through, we're almost done planning for October already. So it's not even June yet. So I'm very impressed with myself and Chloe, and ready to give Lindsay some of these kudos by helping me finish this out. So so next on the agenda is, perfect segue, is Lindsay. So we did offer the job to Lindsay. Was it last week, Lindsay? Seems like longer ago.
Yeah.
And she did accept. I was very excited about working with her. She comes, we're stealing another person from BYDC. So that just seems to be the place where we're going to poach all of our great talent. That's where our grant evaluator also works with them. And Chloe was from them and she was amazing. And Lindsay is leaving them and coming over here, and I've had really, really excited about working with Lindsay, and she has energy and passion, which I could tell you right now, I could use a whole heck of that right now. So Lindsay, you want to share a little bit about yourself with the coalition?
Yeah, I am so excited. I do. I think I get I texted David this morning and I was like, to say I'm excited about today is the understatement of the year. Like, I'm just excited to be here. I'm so sad to be leaving BYDC. I think I could stay there the rest of my life and be happy, but unfortunately with some personal stuff, I am moving, and BYDC just is not in Cassia County. So I'm excited for this remote opportunity with CCI, and I've heard nothing but good things, and I have been able to indulge in some of their trainings already. I just finished their grant writing training, and it's just gotten me excited. But I just recently graduated from BYU Idaho with my bachelor's degree in public health, and I married my high school sweetheart. We live in Cassia County. He is a special education teacher, and we're both just kind of starting our careers. So we do have that kind of exciting young people, naive maybe is what it's called. Maybe we're just naive. We need to be crushed down by the world a little bit. But we're excited, and I'm passionate, and I'm excited to get started. So
thanks, Lindsay. And she will be, she was able to work it into her schedule. She will be here in Boise with the rest of us who are here for ICAD. So if you are coming to Boise for ICAD, make sure that you introduce yourself. I mean, Chloe and I, we didn't get to meet some of you until almost 2 years into working here. So COVID really made that weird and different. So Lindsay, you're not going to get that. You will not get the weird and different. And what I'm really excited about is one of the things that me, and I know Marco and Charlene are really passionate about, is growing up the next generation of, and Jim as well, the next generation of prevention employees. I know Marco and I have some really grand ideas on what we're going to do with being able to fund staff for coalitions in the upcoming years, and really want to make sure that there's quality people that are passionate about this work to fit into these new roles and opportunities. Especially, I mean, I love the PFS program. I think it's been amazing. There's been some movement recently, and we've had some really cool people step up from some really awesome people. So really excited, and just want to make sure that we're continuing to push prevention out there for young people. So we're super excited that Lindsay is so fresh and so new. And what's funny is my wife's a special ed teacher too. We found out that we have a lot in common. So really excited to have her come on, and we're looking at how we can grow, how we can continue to grow the work here at CCI and staffing and stuff like that. So super excited. And we are happy to announce that we will be working out a contract with Chloe. Chloe will be remaining on with us in a minor basis for the next 6 months. She's going to help kind of walk Lindsay through the August report for the DFC. And she's going to be, she really loves working with our webinars and stuff. So we're going to be talking about how she might be able to continue to support CCI in that role too. So she's going to be training Lindsay as a contractor. She'll help us out with that August report, and then she will also still be working with our programs. And I'd love to see if we can't keep her on as a contractor for as long as possible, because I know I have loved working with her and I have heard nothing but the most positive things from everybody else in the coalition. So just, we're trying to keep her hooks in her as long as we possibly can. And she's on vacation in Florida right now. So if anybody wants to hate her because it's cold and snowy and rainy right here, feel free to send her the daggers, because she's in warm Florida with her spouse right now. Okay. And the last thing.
Sorry, I was just gonna say as well, I've heard nothing but positive things about Chloe, and like I said, I'm new and fresh, and BYDC is treating me really well, and I'm new. So if there's ever anything that you're like, Lindsay, fix that, I'm always welcome to hear it, and please do come meet me in person. I'm way less socially awkward on like person instead of on a screen. So I look forward to seeing you all, and I know Chloe's amazing, and I'm excited to try to live up to that expectation. And if you ever see somewhere where I could fix that, you just shoot me an email.
And you want to put your new email in the chat so everybody has it, Lindsay?
Yes, I'll do that right now.
Okay, and so the last thing is ICAD. So since a lot of us are getting together for ICAD, we will be meeting after the first full day. So Tuesday is the start of ICAD. We'll be meeting at the Pizza Pie Cafe. Time and location are on the website. Can you pull up that website link, Lindsay, and can you put it in the chat, please? So
for ICAD, is that what you said? I'm sorry.
Yes, for ICAD, for the ICAD dinner. So it's on the website and the events. Do we know? I know, Marco, you're going to be at ICAD, right?
I am, yeah, and I would plan on, Becky hasn't, she'll be there too, and a couple of my staff, so we'll probably all just come together.
Cool. And David, are you going to be there?
I will be in Disneyland.
Oh,
so no, I won't be there. Sorry, I did try to convince my children that we should just cancel the trip so I could go to ICAD, but they
not
weren't
happening.
having
It
it.
was there last week. They had a blast. We had 10 kids there and 5 staff. They had a good time.
Yeah,
No,
so they're super excited. So yeah.
I know Jim will be there. I know Jerry, you're close. I don't know if you're coming out, but you can join us for dinner, even if you're not going to ICAD. You and Daphne, if you would like. Dawn's welcome as well. So we are buying dinner. So, and the Pizza Pie Cafe is cool because that's all you can eat: pizza, pasta, salad bar. It's a really neat place, and they have a meeting room in the back. So we'll be talking more about our elections and other June meeting and other pertinent things coming up. So check that out. The link is in the chat now. Thank you so much, Lindsay. You're already rocking. All right, so that moves us to the committee reports. I'm trying to remember. So Sylvia is currently the Workforce Development Committee chair. She's not here. She's dealing with some issues with her son's health, so it's made her a little less, or it's made her time a little less available. So with workforce development, we've been working on, we did meet some really neat partners at the State Department of Education conference. So we'll be bringing on some new program spotlights for some programs that intersect with substance abuse prevention. And then we're also, we just wrapped up our, why am I saying so much? our grant writing work, our second grant writing workshop. The results from the surveys came back that it was positive. Does anybody, Natasha, you were in it. How did you like it?
I thought she was absolutely amazing. Any questions we had, she answered very clear and concise, especially to someone like me who is super extremely new at it. And not only that, but even if I don't write a grant ever, I understand Kelly's job, which makes me understand my job better so that I can actually help her fulfill DFC requirements. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it was, to me, it was invaluable.
And something that I know David Roth and some others have asked, they said that they would envision CCI is for us to be experts in the realm of the DFC and managing grants, being able to answer questions when the CDC isn't readily available. And so the conversation that we have had with Debbie is the possibility of a grant management workshop that will be a lot shorter than her current workshop. But it would kind of help walk people through. So you got awarded, now what? And better prepare people for, depending on the size of the grant, what we could do with that. So, and then we are still looking at those Hugh Life classes over the next few months, outside of when we have months where we have our conferences. We do not normally have any webinars because you guys get a ton of training thrown at you during those 2 days. So, but we're looking at those opportunities and filling in the rest of the upcoming months. Internal organization committee, that's Sharon's. I haven't heard anything from her on that, and she will be stepping aside from that. So if anybody really loves helping us work out bylaws and policies and procedures, there are some policies and procedures that have, with staff transitioning of staff, we've learned that we need to upgrade that. So if anybody's interested in that, let me know. And running that committee, Kendall, since you're here, you want to talk about the legislative?
Sure, just now that the session has ended, we do kind of a follow-up thank you. And David did forward Marco's list of representatives to include in our thank yous. And then I sent the letter that we pushed out last year for review, so we can update that with new resources and any new content. We'd like that input from you guys, and then we'll get that sent out to representatives that helped serve this last session. So I think that's about it. Any questions from anyone or any other suggestions on who to send those out to? Okay. And then I asked, I forgot the deadline that I put in the email, but David, when that template goes out, that letter template goes out, or maybe Lindsay, I'm not sure who will be working on that. I think I gave a week to give feedback on that, and then we'll get that sent out.
Okay, we'll include that in the meeting minutes, because Lindsay doesn't have a whole lot on her plate right now. So she's actually taking minutes for us today. So thank you so much for jumping in and making yourself available, Lindsay. So we'll do that. We'll get that set out with the meeting minutes, and we'll make sure that we put in there that we'd like to get those that feedback back within a week. So, and then too, would you like to share with the membership kind of what the responsibilities what you've done with the legislative committee over the last year and a half, and what that next person might, be looking forward to?
Sure, no problem. So for anyone that's piqued by the interest in legislation, it's a great way to get involved and expand your skill sets and your networking on behalf of prevention in Idaho. And it really entails following any drug-related policy and understanding the clear defining difference between lobbying and education, and providing factual information to those that are making those critical decisions during the legislative session. It can be pretty busy during session to try to track that, but there's several tools that are available to provide that information directly to you in your inbox, so that you can then turn around and get the education out. And then occasionally, it depends, identifying constituents that might want to testify if that becomes of importance during the session. And those relationships are really important to do outside of the session, prior to and after. That's why we send the follow-ups and the thank yous regardless after session. And the other opportunity that sometimes comes up is, in the past, CCI has done a legislative education at the Capitol right at the very beginning of when everybody comes together and is required to be in Boise, and provided educational information and presentations, whether that's a documentary. We've brought in outside national speakers before to provide education as we head into the session, if we see specific topics that we'd like to address from the prevention side. So lots of great opportunity. It takes a lot of just kind of planning ahead and logistics for the singular education event at the beginning of the session. And then you'll have updates that you'll share at the monthly meeting, and then the follow-up letters. That's about it.
Thanks, Kendall.
You bet.
So, and that committee is extremely important because we have this unique situation here in Idaho where we're not following suit with majority of the other states in the United States. And then it seems like the federal government has passed through the House already, the MORE Act with marijuana legalization nationally. I hear that they don't have the votes for it in the Senate. And that is another thing too. As the director, I work really closely with all the committees. This one tends to be my favorite because I like politics, and I have my degrees in public administration, so it's my thing. And I have been working with Congressman Fulcher's office on helping me keep an ear on what's going on in Washington, D.C. And he is letting me know that if they ever did need someone to come and testify, that they would let us know and we could figure out how to make that work. So there's lots of opportunities to get involved, not only here stateside, but also nationally, if that is your thing. So if that's your thing and you want to get more involved, it's a great place for it. And it's a very helpful committee. Like Kendall said, it's one of the busier ones.
Well, this might be a tiny bird walk, but I just wanted to thank Kendall for representing all of us on Drug Take Back Day the other night on the news. I think she did that last year, another year, and I'd emailed her and I'd said, great job. And I didn't this year, but I just wanted to thank her for that. I think it was amazing. She was interviewed and she gave a really concise little statement about Drug Take Back Day. So I wanted to tell her that I saw that and I was proud and I noticed, and thank you.
Well, thanks, Jerry. If only you guys had a window into my mind when I'm on camera, but I appreciate that. It's a team effort. Thanks, guys.
Well, I've recorded Kendall before, so I know what she's thinking and saying when she's being recorded. Yeah, I really would like to thank Kendall, because when I took this role at CCI, she made it very clear that she had no time to get involved at the level she is right this very second. So she stepped up and gave us time that she really didn't have for the last year and a half. And I really appreciate her supporting not only CCI, but as she's the one who showed me this job opening. So I'm here because of her. So really want to thank you, Kendall. You're a great mentor and an awesome colleague.
Thank you, David. Thanks, everybody. I know everybody makes sacrifices, and this is a passionate topic for everybody. So again, emphasizing the team effort, but I'm happy to help. Thank you.
Okay, so the last one is networking and membership communication committee. So this one, Daphne did let me know that she does not have the time to dedicate to it. I am trying to get Lindsay up to speed, and one of the things that went by the wayside this month, because I could not figure out how to do all of it, was the newsletter did not go out this last month. I apologize, but things have been kind of crazy. I don't know how Kendall has done it by herself for as long as she has. But so I will be working with Lindsay. Chloe will be showing Lindsay a lot of what she does. A lot of that was done by Chloe and Daphne. I gave input and support, but I was never really heavily involved in that. And we do have one person that is expressed interest in running that committee, so that we can always have two. We can always pick the best person, but if nobody else, we do have somebody interested in chairing this committee for us. So yeah, we will get back on it in May. Lindsay's got tons of energy, so I'm going to use some of that energy and put it to good work. Okay, so now we're on to region updates. So let's start with Grace. What's going on in Region 1?
Region 1's always a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun. So Emma just started, and her and I are meeting on Friday to kind of start those conversations. So that's awesome. And then the other person in Region 1, we just have not been able to match up with the travel we've been doing with IDFI. So Emma, if there's anything that I missed that you guys are doing, just hop right in. So IDFI itself, we of course have our youth summit coming up, which is amazing. We have a lot of scholarships. So if you have kids you want to send, just email me, call me, whatever. And if you have allotted funds and you're like, oh, I wonder what IDFI is doing, just let me know. With that, we're doing our youth vision work. So this is our social media based program, and the campaign development, it's now being targeted at youth and really doing that paid advertisement side of it. We also will be rehiring our ambassadors. We're restarting our youth advisory board currently, as well as our chapter program. So there's a lot going on those fronts, a lot of kind of capacity building, but that is what's happening up here. Emma, is there anything I missed from Panhandle? You guys are doing a lot.
We are doing a lot, mostly on my side of things. I'm just educating myself on the grant, as this is a brand new position for me, and forming partnerships and collaboration with members up here in Region 1 in the top 5 counties. We are doing a media campaign right now through Be the Parents. And so that is a campaign that's targeting mostly kind of like similar to what Grace was saying. We're doing lead-ins to like YouTube videos, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, things like that, as well as geofencing around some of our local high schools, so that hopefully we're capturing some locations and being able to feed those resources straight to them. So we're working really hard on that to kind of promote that prevention piece as much as possible.
I love the geofencing. That was something that I first heard about when Snapchat was doing the filter, like the little filter things. And I thought that was so cool. It was like, you can actually tag very specific geography. It's amazing what you can do with social media now. So that's amazing.
Yes, we're focusing on just the high schools up here in Region 1. So those specific areas, just geofencing right around their buildings and outlying areas. So yeah, it's great. So hopefully we'll get some good information on how many kind of people were reached and things like that at the end of that campaign. So looking forward to that.
Thanks, Emma and Grace. I love how you guys did this together. I think we're going to do that moving forward. We're going to have the Region 2 rep and the PFS coordinator go side by side. That fits. And that, you know what, Grace? I like you because you're so professional in your emails. And when I saw you for the first time, I was like, she's young. That's amazing. She's professional and she's so young. This is so cool.
If anyone ever wants to feel old, I was born in 1999. So people tend to not like hearing that. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I feel like I'm a kid hanging out all the time. I just love my work. So
we love having you. Okay, so Region 2 is Kelly. You ready, Kelly? Her camera's off, so I'm not sure. If you are, you're muted.
I can try to haul her out of here real quick. Well, they're asking you a question. Oh, she can't get it to unmute. So are you just wanting to know what we're up to up here?
Yeah, what are you guys up to?
Okay, so we are doing a huge concert next month, or this month, the end of the month on May 29th. 7 Day Slumber. is coming to play for us. It is a free event at our city park. And he has an amazing drug rehabilitation story that he shares in the middle of the show. And there's also a rap hip hop Christian band out of Yakima that a pastor here is trying to get to come up to open for them. And they are ex-drug addicts and gang members. So we're really hoping to reach our community. And I personally had a friend, we're not friends anymore, but she OD'd on fentanyl the other day, and that's right here in Orfino. And so we've really tried, we're starting to ramp up. We've got to really hit the streets. We also have a huge event planned for July 30th. It'll be our second annual Orfino Night Out, and that also has a band, but there will be many, many entities there. All of our drug and rehab places will be there to be able to give people information if they want to join rehabilitation. We have counselors that will be there on site, so addressing the mental health issues of drug addiction. All the resources that our little town has, which we have quite a lot, surprisingly, for such a small town, will all be there. So people can't have the excuse, I don't know where to go. They will know where to go by the end of that. The kids are doing a ton of fundraising for our trips in June and July. So far, I have 4 confirmed kids going, possibly a 5th for our little area. That's awesome, and I'm super stoked to take them. We are still doing our family fun nights, which is now that COVID's kind of over with, nobody really cares about it anymore. We're meeting in person again, but 3 times a year, we're also doing a family take home that I take to the elementary school. And we have reached 498 people that way. In our family fun packet, they have popcorn, they have apple cider or hot cocoa, depending on what I bought for the time. They have a drug information packet. They have a craft they can do together as a family, suggested movie. And we always put in a little thing from our Strengthening Families of, hey, parents, this is what you can do this month to boost your family. So those are all the things that we are working on. We're also getting ready to kick off another family Strengthening Families class here pretty soon. So we are flipping busy.
So thanks, Natasha, for rocking that update. So let's keep going with that. So Kaylee, you want to give us your update?
Yeah, I just have a few updates. In April, we really pushed getting our No Thanks, I'll Walk media campaign things out. Our billboard should be going up, or should already be up. We're ordering coffee sleeves with the same No Thanks, I'll Walk message on it, and getting some posters up around the community too. Our drug take back day things seemed pretty successful, I guess. We had 6 events across the region on National Drug Take Back Day. And then our 2 universities had take back days on different dates in April. So there's 8 across the region total. We have a QPR suicide prevention training coming up on May 19th. Yeah, otherwise we're just kind of wrapping up the fiscal year.
So one of the things that I would like to talk to you about off after the meeting, Kaylee, is we're trying to bring Stephen to the university in Moscow after he gets done with the conference. So I'd like to touch base with you to see if you have a connection at the college that I can use so I can make that happen.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to Region 3. Jerry, you want to take you and Tara since Tara had to jump off early?
Yeah, sure. Tara's been doing some trainings, which has been amazing, and she could go into more detail about those, but the PFS part of us is staying really busy. We started out our drug take back day Saturday. It was fun. Prevention Associates donated some yogurt and some little pastries, and we were there with Officer Sylvia, we call her. And this is like our 3rd year. And just to be there, we were at the Caldwell Police Department in their lobby, and I mean, garbage bags were coming in, and some of them were vitamins, which I thought was kind of interesting. But I don't have a total of poundage, but that's always kind of an interesting day. So we had a couple of the police officers there, and Daphne and I were there representing the coalition, and then Tara was there with Southwest District Health, and it was just, it's seamless in terms of the people coming in and dropping off their prescription meds, and then both Daphne and Tara had the little, Daphne had the one where you dump the pills into the solution into the pouch. I'm trying to remember. And then Tara had the doTERRA, but she was showing them how you add them to this pouch and they harden up and you can throw them away. But anyway, so Drug Take Back Day was our big kickoff. And what we had decided in our region, we finally have a group of people that are pretty consistently involved. And if we go too big, we don't have enough people to handle things. And we're kind of now just doing annual events. So Drug Take Back was our first kickoff. And this Wednesday, we're doing an activity at the Caldwell Public Library. It's called Destination Wellness, and we'll be there from 10 to 2. And we'll have a little table, and we'll be doing some fun activities. And then we jump into June, Family Day. Juvenile Probation is donating 6 bicycles, and that's where we set up at Mallard Park. And we're talking about our drunk trike doesn't work so well on the grass, so we're talking about some other things we can do with our Fatal Vision goggles. And so our coalition is strong. We're moving along. I also was going to say we have Tall Cop booked in the fall. I'm trying to remember the date, but for a lunch and learn, and he's going to do a community scan. So I wonder if we could talk him into throwing Ontario in there. But anyway, we can talk about that later. So all is well. We're working together. We're excited, and we're all lined out. I know David's going to come and help us with a strategic planning meeting, and Dawn got kind of swamped. She's doing a big project for St. Luke, so we're going to probably do that in August. That was rescheduled, so I feel kind of bad, but I can't make it to ICAD, but I'll be there for the law enforcement training. And if I get my dates down, I guess probably like everybody else, you can schedule around them. But that's all for 3. Oh, and then David, I was going to ask, my tenure is up, I think, in July. How do I rerun for my Region 3 position?
So the region positions, you stay in those as long as you so choose, according to the bylaws. And normally people let me know I don't want to be the region rep anymore. I know Tony, it was an issue for her in Region 1, so that's why we were looking for someone to fill that spot. And it was neat that Grace stepped into that opportunity. So as long as you're still willing, we'd love to have you still rock in Region 3.
All righty, I'm in.
Cool. And if anybody wants to read, Tara did drop her update in the chat, so you can scroll and check that out. And Lindsay will copy that and put it into the minutes as well. So Region 4 is Shannon, and she's not here. Kendall, do you want to talk about what MADC's been up to?
Sure, I can do that. Yeah, I'm not sure what else has been going on in the region, just very busy and focused right here in Meridian. A few different presentations in the schools and in the community. Of course, the prescription take back that we just had, that was a great turnout, went very smooth. Prepping for Mental Health Month, I was late to this meeting because we just had an unveiling of a new law enforcement car that's focused on mental health. And so we'll have some social media going out throughout the month to support that. And then there's a vaping video geared towards parents that will share that we have prevention packets here and talk about a little bit about vape usage and THC concentrates, and then the impact on mental health. Just a quick little, like, couple, not even maybe a minute. And then I did want to mention as well, the governor's Operation Esto Perpetua, which has to do with fentanyl and methamphetamine. He's had a couple listening groups for that throughout the state. I don't remember how many he has planned, but I was able to attend the the one that he held this last week. And he will have one planned in East Idaho as well. I don't see it on the public calendar yet. But I would encourage you to go and to sign up to testify so that you can share some of what we're seeing as far as on the prevention side. I did see Tara and another gal that I can't recall her name right now. I haven't met her in person at that listening group, but it's a great opportunity for prevention to share their voice as well. And then I will not be at ICAD because we have spring safety flings coming up in the middle schools. We'll be in each of the middle schools in Meridian sharing prevention education as we head into summer, which is known as the 100 Deadliest Days. So we have a variety of partners that come together, and we meet in the school gym during lunch, and they rotate through each of the booths and have interactive activities that provide prevention education as well. That's all I've got.
Cool. We had a really cool update. It looks like we got the superintendent excited about bringing back the car crash before prom and graduation back to the region. Found out that wasn't happening, and he and I had conversations about why. He learned some stuff at the meeting, so that was good. It was good to see stuff like that coming back too. I think it's what is that called? Every
15 minutes.
Every 15 minutes. There
Yep.
we go.
Yeah, thank you for inviting him. That was great.
What I do. Cool. Thank you, Kendall.
You're welcome.
We do not have a PFS coordinator that I'm aware of from Region 4. Rebecca did move on. She went to St. Luke's. They seem to be getting all the good talent. So Region 5, we don't have anyone representing Region 5, but we do have Marianne. Are you still here? You want to?
Yes, I am. I am. Yes, we have quite a bit going on. We, as you know, last October, when you helped me scramble and save the Drug Take Back Day event, we only had one in Twin Falls for Region 5. This last Saturday, we had 4. So we had one in Twin Falls, one in Gooding, one in Burley, and one in Haley. So that alone was exciting. I've only heard a little bit from the Gooding person who had been a little bit nervous about running that event, but feels like she's much more confident and wants to move forward and do it
October
throughout the future. But she said, considering this is the very first time they've ever done this in Gooding, they completely stuffed 2 boxes full of drugs. So she was pretty proud and excited about that. Everything went smoothly, but we do not yet know how much in pounds was actually collected. As for the other events, I'm still waiting to hear. I know just from generalities that they all went well, but I do not know how much was actually collected in any of them. But I was pretty excited to get one going in Burley because they have a pretty huge problem there. So I'm hoping it was well attended. We'll see how that goes, and I'll let everybody know later. The big campaign that we're doing right now is a youth mental health and suicide prevention campaign. I'm doing it in combination with the suicide prevention coordinator at the health district. So our programs are working together to try to promote the video My Ascension. I've gotten it to be able to be viewed for a couple of small groups, and now I have quite a few more adult people trying to get it. Now that they've seen it themselves, they are going to be working to try to help us get this to play like at different schools, youth groups, anywhere we can think of that will help with that. And then part of that campaign, I developed a guided journal. It's, I don't know how to explain it. It's geared towards mental health because all the research shows that teens, adolescents that do journaling, it helps reduce their stress, anxiety, depression. So I looked at a lot of different journals, and I made sure to include the stuff that people gave me some feedback a handful of teens gave me some feedback on stuff. So the very beginning is a mental health plan that they can create themselves, but it has like boxes on ideas of things that stress kids out. So they can mark what are some of the things that stress themselves out, make them kind of explore it. It also has a section that gives them ideas on who's your support team, who can you go to, and helps them identify and actually realize, okay, yes, these are the people that I'd go to my best friend, or I'll go to my grandparent. I was rather touched myself when a couple of my teenage grandsons let me know that I was the top of their list. So that made a big difference to me, to know that I have done something right, I guess, so that they feel like they can talk to me. So that was important to me. And they said that they had taken it for granted that I would be there for them. So that was important on both of our parts. But then I found out also that a great, my niece's daughter, so great niece, who has attempted suicide in the past. I didn't realize that I was one of the people she put on her list.
Aww.
So that was something that meant something to me. And then part of the journal is set up as kind of a planner. There's 12 months. It's broken down to where it includes a calendar. It includes a chart that they can write down good habits and mark throughout the month when they're following or doing, say, walking or playing a sport or eating healthy or something. There's also sections that include things like a page that helps them figure out what is their goal and then walks them through steps that help them meet that goal. So there's quite a few different things in this guided journal. And I started distributing these, and all of a sudden started having so many places that are asking. A couple of organizations that work with foster kids started requesting them. The CASA group just wanted it. Some of the juvenile probation offices have wanted it. And over a 2-week period of time, we've now distributed close to 800 of these journals. Wow. So it's pretty exciting. And we already have, or I'm getting more requests. So we already have a plan to print more of the journals. And for anybody that wants to see what this journal looks like, let me know. Or if you'd like, I can send it to Lindsay and she can just include it as something. Please feel free to use it. The very back couple of pages, our children's behavioral / mental health director here provided me a copy with what's called the DOS-21. It's a mental health self-assessment tool, and it can be used over and over, but it's something that walks them through 21 questions and helps anybody identify if they're stressed, anxious, or depression, so that in recognizing it, they know they need to do something about it. So that seems to be our biggest outreach right now in Region 5. We have several other things going on, including positive action family classes that one of our organizations is actively doing it as a 26-week course. And they are averaging 17 to 20 people in that, and now have enough people that are requesting it that they're already planning to start another class even before the last one finishes up. So far we're doing some good stuff, wrapping things up for the PFS fiscal year and lining things up to start for the next fiscal year. Next fiscal year, the biggest thing I am having several schools request is some type of peer-to-peer program, like a mentoring or something like that. So if anybody knows of a really good program that is based on prevention work, so my PFS grant can help back it up and fund it, please let me know. So far, other than the teen mental health first aid group, which I already have a couple of schools interested in, some of the high schools in particular are recognizing that they really need some type of peer-to-peer teen program in their school.
Grace, doesn't Idify have a program that they run throughout the year that does that?
Not super mentor
Okay.
focused in like the original sense of like a senior being put with a freshman student, but it's a really good idea. Maybe we will make one.
Maybe you guys should team up with, maybe you should team up with Marianne, and maybe you guys could use your powers and create a program that we might be able to use across the state.
Yeah, Marianne, let's have an email about that. I would love to discuss that more.
I'd love to be in on that too.
See? So
Yeah,
the
Marianne, I'd love a copy of that, the journaling. I think I could try that out in my programs. I've got a little pilot in Idaho City going on now, but I'm in New Plymouth and Wilder and Nampa, and that'd be awesome to be able to get a copy of the journal activity.
Yeah,
I'll be
so-
happy to. I'll send the full copy, the one that was used by the printers to print it off. I will send that to Lindsay and she can just send it to everybody.
Cool. And we'll make sure that Emma, Grace, and Marianne, anybody else want to jump in this opportunity to work on this peer-to-peer thing? Valerie, your camera popped on. You want to, I'll put you guys all together in an introductory email so you guys can all have your each other's email. So I'm glad, and I'm super glad, Marianne, that the work that we did in October not only kept that drug take back day going, but it grew like we anticipated. So anything that we can do to continue to support you guys, let us know, because I believe, Lindsay, you live close to Burley, or if not Burley, right?
Yeah, I live in Burley. I'm like, Marianne, where was that? I'm like, I'm a Deco
It was in
girl.
front of Smith's.
Oh, perfect.
It was held in front of Smith's. Yes, the Weinhoff drug testing group went over
Yeah.
there and got it all going, and I helped them get their law enforcement in place. But I haven't yet heard this morning from them on how everything went. So
Well, that makes me so excited. So like my brother-in-law, he's a police officer. So in October, please reach out and I'd love to help try to coordinate some of that as well.
great. Yes, we went through the Cassia County Sheriff's Office. They were really excited that we were willing to help them get something set up. So they were just primed and ready to go.
Wonderful.
And there's another place where Kendall has been helpful, because Weinhoff Drug Testing is a business partner at the MADC, and Kendall helped introduce that opportunity to help in October, and it looks like that is continuing to grow. So once again, thank you, Kendall. You're worth your weight in gold. Sorry, Marco, I'm gonna start at Region 7 next time, because you guys always seem to be like the very last. Don't feel rushed, but you and Mallory want to wrap up our
We can
meeting
do it
and
quick.
updates and get everybody out of here.
So I'm partnered with Eastern Idaho Public Health, so Mallory, on the Beer Cups sticker shot campaign we're going to be doing, and that is for our Chuckers baseball team. We do that every year. It's been fairly successful, just to make sure that we give information to those adults that are consuming beer in a setting like the Chuckers baseball team. So that's important. We're doing this next week. We have 2 school presentations with vaping, anti-vaping projects for elementary schools. So that's kind of fun. A lot of trainings happening. We have a group of 10 youth we just sent to this boost training in Palm Springs, California. Then that same group of kids going to be going to CADCA coming up in June. And then our team is going to ICAD. And we also have our team going to another group of 14 kids going to Idify. So we're going to have a very busy group back and forth. We are also have our community garden event. And that's a new thing. Anybody in our Eastern Idaho Region 7, mostly Idaho Falls, but there's a community garden, and we're engaging families in prevention work with that, and getting them a chance to get together and have a space where they can have a garden. We're also doing 2 big fundraiser events that are coming up. We have a concert with some people from American Idol, and then we have this other symposium thing that's they're partnering with the Mental Health Symposium and doing a fun run. So some of the funds come to help support prevention work in Eastern Idaho. I know David, if David's on, he can talk about his drug take back. They just completed over with the College of Eastern Idaho and the partnership there. I'll just let him talk about that so I don't waste your time on me.
Awesome. Are you done? Okay, so yeah, we did have our drug take back. I want to say we did at least 7 or 8 boxes. It was very, very, very successful. Fewer people, but the people were bringing in literally like huge amounts of, especially oxycodone. A lot of people having surgery apparently. So that was huge. We are wrapping up in our elementary school anti-vaping programming. We were in several elementary schools this year for 4 weeks at a time. And we're finalizing or finishing our last school. We have our youth, our Paramount event coming up. That'll actually be a 2-day event this year. I believe it's 23rd and 24th of June. And we're bringing Ray Lozano here to do presentations about that. So that's pretty exciting. And then we also do, we're just trying to finalize this sticker shock campaign on liquor store bags that we try to get out around this time, because we feel like with everybody graduating high school, there's a lot of people that are doing like graduation parties and whatnot. So that's worked out well for us. And we are partnering with the Junior Civitans, and if there's not enough of them to get it done, we'll bring in the Scouts again. They helped us with the last one to get those done. Just reminding people that college is expensive, so save, you know, up to $1,000 by not providing alcohol to minors. And so I think that's it. Unless I'm missing something, I think that's it.
Do you have anything to add to all that, Mallory?
Yeah, just a couple things. It was pretty exciting that the drug take back, we're able to get out over 70 Vaults medication lock boxes and over 80 doTERRA drug deactivation pouches to our community. We tried to make sure that everyone who dropped something off then got a doTERRA bag to take home for other medications, and noticed that a lot of people came wanted a solution for liquids, which the doTERRA pouches were able to work with. We have a DITEP training coming up next week. It's on the 12th, and that's scheduled for our Idaho Falls rescue mission. So we are going out of the schools on this one. Normally it's for educational professionals, but our Idaho Falls rescue mission expressed a need and a want for learning about how to recognize when somebody is impaired or under the influence of a substance. So we're working with Idaho State Police and Rexburg Police for that. These are the little stickers that Marco was talking when we were talking about how we're stickering the beer cups. So they're just underage drinking. It's against the law. The little 21 and the 1 is out of a little beer. It's like a little beer icon. So we're excited to get all of those stickered for the Chuckers. The Chuckers is our local baseball team. And so when somebody purchases beer, they'll get this little underage drinking is against the law sticker on their cup, which is pretty exciting. And then we're just been working with, we'll be working with some of the local law enforcement agencies to provide different resources to our school resource officers so that they can test different substances. And then hopefully can work on some programming with, between SIA and BYDC to, if somebody does get, is caught with alcohol or any other substance, that they can get some education from them. So.
Cool. Thank you guys for bringing up the caboose of the train there. I always hate when people have a meeting on things that could have been done in the email. On the agenda, there are things we've already talked about: CCI funding for ICAD, registration, lodging, mileage. If you haven't registered by now, you would have to do it in person. That link is closed. ICAD coming up, the June training. We got the National Youth Leadership Initiative, the 14th to the 16th on there as well, and also the date for the fall conference in Moscow, October 3rd and 4th is on the agenda. So if you misplace it, it's there. So the next meeting that we will be having will be in person, June 6th. We are gonna try to figure out how we can bring in our virtual people, because I know there are those of you who cannot come to this. So this link will be active for you. I'm just not quite sure how yet. I do know I cannot try to make an entire 2-day conference reliable, but I'm doing my best to get this to happen. So those of you who will be zooming in, this is an option, but I would love to see as many of you as possible in June. And other than that, I think, David, I think we can, someone got a motion to adjourn?
I would definitely entertain a motion to adjourn.
Marco, Jerry,
We adjourn.
Second,
thank you guys.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Awesome. Thank you all. See you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Lots of good things going.
David, you wanted a contact for the University of Idaho?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, they just have a new, what is the job title called? Like alcohol and other drugs program coordinator. I can email you her email.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Is the conference that you're talking about, like the law enforcement one, is that just for law enforcement, or is that just anyone in prevention?
Anyone in prevention or intersecting partners can attend.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you guys.
Bye. So do you feel, how do you feel about that meeting and those minutes? Was that crazy for you?
Yeah, I think that just learning the schedule of it, I think because I didn't look at it before, just the meeting, the old one, I didn't really know what it all to type exactly. So I was kind of just going back and forth, okay, who said that? I don't know everyone's name and their organizations yet. So I think that made it just a little bit crazy for me. But I definitely got some good stuff down, and I definitely will want to look at the recording to go back and fill in.
So I'd like for your first official task is to get the draft of the minutes completed. And then also I'm going to send you, because Chloe did do, she and I sat down and kind of went over some of the things that she does, because I wasn't quite sure when I was going to bring on another staff member. And I didn't want to not know things when she was gone. So, and I recorded that meeting. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you that recording so that you can watch that, because you can learn you can kind of look at some of the things that we talked about and glean something from that as well, especially looking at the, 'cause I think after you finish the, once we get the meeting minutes finished, and we'll craft the email together so you don't feel like you're forgetting something. And I forget stuff all the time. So we're not looking for perfection by any stretch of the imagination. Even Chloe forgot stuff. As highly as we talk about her, she forgot stuff from time to time too. So, so we're going to focus on starting to craft out the newsletter for this next month, because I'm really mad at myself that I didn't get that done, but I literally could not figure out how to the biggest problem was I didn't do it. That was one of those things where I was able just to hand it to Chloe and it got done. I didn't really, she would ask me, is there anything you want to add? I would throw her a graphic or an idea, and that was about it. And we would talk about what was in the newsletter, but I didn't do it. So with everything that I was trying to accomplish and all of the struggles that the last month and a half have brought on, it was just something had to go by the wayside. I didn't feel like that was a big deal. Like that was an acceptable casualty of all of this craziness. So, so that's something that you will see in that recording. And then you and I we can go through that, and I'll introduce you to Danielle, who looks like will be the chair for that committee that what is that committee's name? The networking and membership communication subcommittee, just so you guys can meet. She's a super cool person and she's got tons of energy and she's like beyond knowledgeable about all of these ways of connecting with people. So I'm super excited to bring her on to this committee. So
I think I would love to go over, like, I guess I don't really know how CCI works yet. Like BYDC is such a, like, I'm just starting, and I did have BYD